The sheets smelled like cedar and regret. I stared at the ceiling fan spinning above Ernest's bed, its blades slicing the morning light into sharp, accusing fragments. My wedding ring glinted on the nightstand, next to an empty wine glass. I had not planned this, but plans, like promises, shatter easily. 3 months earlier, I would have called myself happy. Clyde and I lived in a maple-shaded cottage in Stowe, Vermont. He was a firefighter, steady, kind, the kind of man who rescued kittens from trees and remembered our anniversary. But firefighting shifts were long, and loneliness crept in like frost under a door. When Ernest Lawson became my new boss at the advertising firm, I mistook his attention for mentorship. He was 45, sharp-suited, with a laugh that felt like a secret. "You're wasted here, Jessica," he would say, leaning too close. "Let me show you the world." The office Christmas party was the tipping point. Snow fell outside the Burlington event hall, and Ernest handed me a third glass of champagne. To ambition he toasted, his fingers brushing mine. Clyde was on night shift. I told myself one drink would not hurt. But the room blurred, and Ernest's stories about his divorce felt too relatable. "You deserve more," he whispered, guiding me to his car. I did not resist. His penthouse was all glass and cold elegance. I remember the sting of his cologne, the way his hands gripped my hips like he owned them. It was not love. It was not even lust. It was a scream into a void, a rebellion against the quiet ache of being overlooked. Afterward, he slept. I lay awake, counting mistakes. At dawn, I dressed silently. Ernest stirred, smirking. "Same time next week?" I froze. The man who had called me a star now reduced me to a slot in his calendar. I drove home, scrubbing my skin in the shower until it burned. Clyde left a note on the fridge. "Made pancakes. Stay safe out there." The syrup bottle was still sticky. Work became a minefield. Ernest winked during meetings, sent emails with double meanings. I avoided his gaze, but guilt clung like static. Clyde began to notice. "You're jumpy," he said one night, his hand covering mine. "Talk to me." I could not. The lie coiled tighter in my throat. Then the text. "My place. Tonight. Or I will tell Clyde where you really were on the 12th. Ernest's true colors bled through, a predator disguised as a savior. I deleted it, hands shaking. But secrets, once loose, never stay buried. Guilt is a heavy perfume. It seeps into your skin, follows you everywhere. For weeks, I wore it like a second shadow. Clyde asked fewer questions, but his eyes lingered on me longer, searching, doubting. I started hiding my phone. I stopped wearing the perfume I had worn that night. Small changes, but to a man who knew the shape of my silence, they were sirens. Ernest no longer pretended to be charming. At work, he cornered me by the coffee machine, his voice low. "You look tired, Jessica. Long nights?" His smirk made my stomach twist. I avoided the break room. I ate lunch at my desk, but the walls of the office felt smaller, the air thicker. One afternoon, I found a single red rose on my keyboard. The card read, "To us, Ernest." I shredded it, hands trembling. Then came Sarah Miller. Sarah was a junior designer, 24 and bright-eyed. She brought me files that Friday, her smile faltering. "Mr. Lawson asked me to give you these." Her voice dropped. "He does this a lot, does he not? The roses? The late-night emails?" My throat tightened. She glanced over her shoulder. "I was going to quit last month, but then I heard about you." "Heard what?" I asked, though I already knew. She hesitated. "The others. The ones before you. He targets women with partners, ones who'll stay quiet." Her words were ice water. He showed me your texts. Said you were into it. I thought you should know. I did not sleep that night. Clyde snored softly beside me, his back turned. I wondered if he already knew. If the universe had punished me by letting him see the cracks. The universe did worse. 2 days later, Clyde came home early. His uniform was soot-streaked, his face pale. In his hand was an envelope. This was taped to the firehouse door, he said. His voice was calm, deadly calm. Inside were photos. Blurry, but clear enough. Earnest's penthouse. His hands on my waist. My head thrown back in laughter or shame. The date stamp, December 12th. The night of the party. Explain, Clyde said. Not a request. A command. I could not speak. My lungs refused air. He threw the envelope on the table. I called your office. They said you left early that day. Sick. His jaw flexed. Who is he? The truth came out in fragments. Earnest's name. The drinks. The snowstorm. Clyde listened, motionless, until I choked out the last word. Then he stood, chair screeching. Pack your things. Clyde, please. You do not get to beg. The roar shook the windows. You lied. You let me love you while you. He grabbed his keys. I will not stay here tonight. The door slammed. I crumpled to the floor, the photos scattering around me. One landed face up, a close-up of Earnest's smirk. Same time next week? My phone buzzed. Unknown number. Funny how loyalty burns, is it not? Earnest. Winter in Vermont is a long, merciless teacher. By March, the snow still clung to the roadsides, dirty and stubborn, like the shame I could not scrub away. Clyde had moved into his brother's cabin. I stayed in the cottage, surrounded by the ghosts of us, his boots by the door, his half-empty coffee mug, the photo of us hiking Camel's Hump, laughing under a sun that no longer felt real. I quit my job the day after Clyde left. Earnest laughed when I slammed my resignation on his desk. You will regret this, he said, leaning back in his leather chair. Who will hire you now? His confidence cracked when I slid a folder toward him. Inside were printed emails, Sarah Miller's signed statement, and a list of 6 other women, past and present, ready to testify. Harassment suits tend to stick, I said. His face turned gray. The lawsuit made local news. Earnest resigned to pursue personal projects. The firm settled quietly. I donated the money to a shelter for abused women. It did not fix anything, but it felt like a start. Clyde did not call, did not text. I wrote letters I never sent. I am sorry became a mantra, a prayer, a curse. I took a job at a bookstore in Montpelier, shelving novels about love and loss. The irony stung. Then, on a brittle April morning, he appeared. I was stacking memoirs when the bell above the door chimed. Clyde stood in the threshold, sunlight outlining his broad frame. His beard was thicker, his eyes guarded. My heart lurched. Hi, he said. Hi. We stood there, 2 strangers who once knew each other's freckles. Finally, he nodded toward the coffee shop next door. Can we talk? The booth was small. His knees brushed mine. He stared at his black coffee. I saw the news. About Earnest. Yes. You did that? We did. The other women, they helped. He nodded slowly. I have been seeing a therapist. She says anger is easier than grief. The admission cracked me open. Clyde, I do not. He held up a hand. Not yet. His voice wavered. I loved you. Maybe part of me still does. But trust. He shook his head. It is broken glass. You cannot uncut yourself. Tears blurred my vision. I do not expect you to forgive me, but I want to try. The words hung between us, fragile as a spider's web. Not for you.
For me.
Because hating you is killing me. We left the cafe, without promises. He walked me to my car. The wind carried the scent of thawing earth, of mud and possibility. Can I call you? He asked.
Yes.
Okay. He turned, then paused. Jessica? Yes? Wear your seatbelt. It was an old joke, a relic of happier days. I laughed, sharp and startled. He did not smile, but his eyes softened. Now, I take it day by day. Clyde's calls are short, cautious. We talk about the weather. The Red Sox. Nothing real.
Yet.
I volunteer at the shelter on weekends. Sometimes I hike alone, shouting my regrets into valleys that echo but do not answer. The scars remain. But scars are not always ugly. They are proof you survived. To the viewers and listeners, betrayal leaves wounds, but healing is possible. What did you think of Jessica's journey? Could you forgive her? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If this story moved you, please like, share, and subscribe for more raw, emotional tales. Your support helps us tell stories that matter. Thank you for watching.